Chimpanzee War was the longest and most brutal war between apes ever recorded. This harsh war all started when the alpha of the Casakila troop, Leaky, died. This caused Humphrey, a huge male, to take over. Humphrey wasn't a good leader, so Fegan, another adult male, took over. Problems started to erupt when the tribe possessed a 5-to-1 male to female ratio. This made fights between males common, and slowly over time caused the Casakila troop to interact less and less. Eventually, the tribe split into two distinct groups, with the Casakila being left with 8 adult males, Humphrey, Fegan, Jomeo, Rudolph, Everett, Sherry, and Satan, 12 adult females and their young, and the Separatists, consisting of 6 adult males, Charlie, Hugh, Cody, Dee, Goliath, and Sniff, 3 adult females and their young, supporting the 2nd and 3rd ranked chimpanzees of the Casakila troop, brothers Charlie and Hugh. This group of chimpanzees migrated south to form the Kahama group. Everything went back to normal when the group separated. No more arguments meant a peaceful life. But after the Casakila started to conduct border patrols, tensions rose between the two groups. On January 7th of the year 1974, first blood was drawn. This was caused when Casakila members Humphrey, Fegan, Jomeo, Sherry, Everett, and Rudolph quietly traveled south and brutally murdered the adult male Cody when he was peacefully eating in a tree. What they did was that they threw him off the tree and beat him, while Humphrey and Rudolph smashed him over and over again with huge rocks. After Cody was defeated, the group celebrated by hooting hysterically and throwing branches around. Over the next 4 years, the Casakila ambushed the Kahama without much of a reason. Even though chimpanzees are highly social, most of the time they prefer to not share food with each other, prompting them to eat alone. This common chimpanzee behavior led the Casakila to develop a strategy. The strategy played out like this. The Casakila Border Patrol waited for one member of the Kahama to eat alone, and then they striked. Dee was next to follow Goody's demise, and Jane Goodall, who was studying this conflict, was stuck with the image of Jomeo ripping a piece of meat from his thigh and eating it while Dee was still alive. After Dee, Hugh followed. Goliath followed next. Goliath was a kind, elder chimpanzee who was on a relative good basis with the Casakila. Still, when the group came, he was murdered. He was known for his kindness by Jane Goodall. This kindness was probably the reason he didn't try to escape his fate. Goodall was also left with the image of Fegan repeatedly beating the quivering Goliath with no empathy, even though Goliath was his childhood hero. With only leader Charlie, Sniff, the females, and young left, they stood little chance of escaping the wrath of the Casakila. When leader Charlie was ambushed, he tried to fight back, but with no luck. Soon after, the little Willy Wally disappeared, probably suffering the same fate. The last male of the Kahama, Sniff, survived on his own for a year, but then he died the same way as the others. Goodall's last memory of the young Sniff was Satan cupping his hands under a throat wound and drinking his blood. After Sniff's death, the Casakila had to deal with the Kahama females, which did not move as much as the males. 1 was murdered, 2 went missing, and 3 were beaten and kidnapped by the Casakila. The Casakila then took over the Kahama territory. By the end of 1978, the Kahama males were killed, their territory taken over, and their females kidnapped by the Casakila. The Kahama was no more. Even though the Casakila was successful at taking over the Kahama, another, larger group of chimpanzees that lived south of the Kahama, the Kalandi, started moving north. The Casakila were no match, so they gave up their newly gained Kahama territory to the Kalandi. This was the first recorded sighting of calculated warfare, other than humans, observed in the wild, and Even though Jane Goodall made a profounding scientific discovery, the sights of hyper-aggressive murder from animals that she came to love and respect showed how much chimpanzees are like humans.